tell you the maintenance that we do on our choppers in the off time. So this 990 has just over 1,100 chopping hours. So we started taking the cabinet out, the knife cylinder, and I'll get to that in a minute. But there's a couple pulleys that are for the main belt. We changed all the bearings. We've already changed the bearings on this one, and then we have the pulley off back there, and we changed the bearings in it. So we like to change all our bearings on the main drive because a couple hundred more hours than this has, they start going out, and we don't like downtime in the middle of the season. So up here on our spout, you can see that we put a hard face on our liners. This side's off, so we're gonna have to redo the hard face. So we've gotten a couple seasons out of them, and we just keep on adding hard face, saves a little bit of money. This top liner, we don't do anything to it. When it wears out, it wears out. But this arch liner right here by the back window, it's got its original one. It's a little over 1,100 cutting hours. We have one that's over 2,000 cutting hours that has not worn through. So zoom down to the bottom of the chopper. I'll show you the engine, and then inside where the blower at, and I'll show you what we do. So starting over here, all the pulleys and tensioner pulleys for the two belts. We changed the bearings and everything. We also changed the belts because we don't like downtime. You can hear me say that a lot. And I also don't like working on choppers in the season. I'd rather sit in my pickup and watch everybody work. But that's not always what happens. So once we take the back door off, we'll inspect our paddles, all the liners inside, and change anything that needs to be changed. On this machine, all the liners are fine, paddles are fine. I didn't get that many hours in corn season. But the left-hand accelerator bearing has some play, so we're going to change it. That's why the tire's off. That's actually going to be our next project. The right-hand bearing hardly ever goes out unless you lose grease. When we've had these bearings go out on the left side, it usually catches on fire, and there's no grease left, so we don't know if we ran out of grease or not. But yeah, we went through a couple accelerator bearings last year. I got in a little bit of a hurry when I was in this section talking about what we do. We also do all the air, fuel, hydraulic, depth, all the normal maintenance. But then the bushings for the axle, we change those out quite often because they usually only last about 500 hours and it starts fucking up your tires. So that's the bad part. Let's go to the cabinet. So we've had this whole thing down to nothing. We've had them all out. The bottom roller, we put new bearings in it. The big bearing starts getting play and then starts fucking up. The metal detector starts going off. And no one likes metal detector problems. The top roll, we put new bearings, seals in it. Triangle gearbox, we're in the process of putting it on right now. We just went through and put all new bearings, all new seals. So like I said, around 1,100 cutting hours. Usually, after wheat season, we'll put seals. After corn season, we'll put seals, and then let's move back here. We try to put a new smooth roller quite often because this is right here is the problem that we're having. It magnetizes and it starts giving you hell. No one likes magnet problems. Anybody that drives a chopper knows exactly what I mean. Scraper, it's right here on the ground. We change that twice a year. Before wheat season and then before corn season. This roller right here, we put this in maybe 400 hours ago, so we're not going to do anything with it, but we usually get about 1,000 hours from the updated roller. The original roller, when these first came out, I don't know what they're made out of, but you would get maybe 500 hours. So it was horrible. Let's move on over here. So the cutting cylinder, we'll check the bearings, make sure that's fine. These back plates, top and bottom, we'll replace because a couple hundred more hours, they start getting holes in them, which we found out, and no one wants to pull out this whole fucking thing during the season. It's a pain in the ass. The knives, they're a little dull. The operator, I don't know who was driving it, but they were a little lazy. They didn't want to sharpen. Shear bar is fine. So other than that, it's ready to go back in. So the big gearbox, we don't have to go through it. We just change the seals. We've been very fortunate to not have one of these come apart. We try to keep oil in it, because I can only imagine how expensive that gearbox is. And there's a couple things I forgot. So we torque all the wheels on the chopper because we've had them come off in the field. With the chopper, had like, I think 800 hours, but that's a whole different story. So over here, I know I'm kind of jumping around, but so we'll change the oils in these both sides, and then we change the oil in this gearbox. Come to the back, change the oil in this gearbox right off the main clutch. It's known to have flakes of metal, and we haven't ran across it, but I know a couple people that have. Got the oil in here. Got the oil in the fan gearbox, and I'm sure I'm missing some other things, but that's the general idea, or what we do. That's pretty much what we do with all the maintenance that we do with all the choppers. When they get around to this many hours, and then we kind of just base it off that. Once parts start failing that we don't replace, then we know to replace it before then. But all this work is not only done by me. Mr. Ruben's the man. How long you been driving chopper, Ruben?
About 15 years. 14, 15.
Yeah.
Right there.
What's your favorite chopper?
Claas.
You don't like Krone?
No, it's fucking... No bueno.
So tell them what we're gonna do with this hat over here.
So the Krone's hat here. About to go through the machine. That's what we think about it.